field and the price one. Where it all began, not the grass, but the memories he remembered clearly the day I left the city, not because I hated it, but because I felt like a small, insignificant part of the traffic, the billboards. That flashed all night, and the people who never looked at each other in the elevator. I wanted to feel the ground beneath my feet. I wanted to hear the rooster crow in the morning. I wanted to feed my family with something I had actually grown and cared for, not taken from a supermarket freezer. I imagined that raising chickens on pasture would be the answer. It was the ideal scenario, right? Chickens running around in the sun, scratching the ground, eating insects, squawking happily. I thought, all I need is a little land, a few chickens and hard work. That's enough. I was wrong. Or rather, I didn't fully understand the price. The battle against nature, from terrain to temperature. Have you ever heard of free range? It's a beautiful concept, but in reality, freedom comes with a kind of unforgiving risk. In South Texas, where I started my farm, the weather is a silent enemy. In the summer, the heat doesn't just make you sweat, it can kill. Temperatures outside reach 100 for F40 Celsius, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. The ground is parched and steaming like an oven, leaving the chickens choking and exhausted. During one 3-day heat wave, I lost more than 150 chickens, despite having plenty of water and moving the coops to get out of the sun. All because I left the farm for a few hours to take my wife to the vet. Many people think, oh, raising chickens is just moving the coops to a cool place. But try wading through the wet grass at dawn. The soggy ground, pulling a 200-kilo coop, shoulders hurt, back bent, legs slipping. Just pull at the wrong angle, the coop flips, the chickens riot, the water troughs fall, the feed spills, and you have to start all over again. In winter, everything is cold, not the pleasant cold like in the north, but the cold that cuts to the skin, seeps into the bones, especially in the middle of the night when you have to get up to check the heating system in the chicken coop. A broken light bulb, and hundreds of baby chickens can die of hypothermia. 3. Chickens feel pain too, and know how to choose the feeder. You think chickens are just chickens? I used to think so, until I witnessed a hen choose the exact spot where I was going to put the litter box to lay eggs, and then return to that spot every day, at the same time, at the same angle, as if it were her favorite room. When I changed the litter or moved the box to another location, she stopped laying. Only after I put everything back the way it was did it start laying eggs again. Chickens are comfortable. Chickens are scared. And chickens know where they want to live. So when I see one staggering around in the corner of the coop, I know it's dying, and often I can't save it. 4. Choosing the wrong breed, losing the flock. When I first started, I chose the Cornish crossbreed, the most popular commercial broiler breed in the US. The reason was simple: they grow fast. Within 38 days, they can weigh over 5 pounds, ready to sell, fast, high profit. But I didn't anticipate that they couldn't handle the weather outdoors. Just a few days after being put out on the pasture, they started to collapse, not eat, not walk. Weak legs, weak lungs, weak hearts. They were bred to live in factories, not to face the sun and wind. I buried the whole flock, one by one. I cried as I did it. That was the first time I understood what it meant to pay the price for ignorance. From there I switched to the Red Ranger and Freedom Ranger breeds. Although they grow slower, they are strong, active, and forage well. And most importantly, they know how to live. 5. Sleepless nights in the chicken coop. Many people think that chicks are cute, and they are, if you only look at them in TikTok videos. But if you are someone who raises 100 chicks each season, you will understand that this is the most fragile and vulnerable stage. After hatching, chicks are not taken straight to pasture, but must stay in a closed space called a brooder, a place with a stable temperature, clean water, easily digestible food and warm bedding. I once slept on a folding chair in the brooder for 3 nights in a row just to monitor the temperature and change the water. Once, the electricity went out at 2 a.m. I had to light an oil lamp, hold a warm towel and warm each of the weakest chicks. One cold night is enough to wipe out a month of preparation, and no insurance will cover it, just tears and starting over. 6. Chickens can't take care of themselves. Neither can I. People often say, free-range chickens take care of themselves. They eat insects, grass, and live healthy. Wrong. If you want firm, sweet meat, eggs with orange yolks as deep as the sun, you have to invest more. Organic supplements, clean water changed every 6 hours, mixed with herbs like ginger, garlic, mint to increase resistance. No hormones, no antibiotics. That means you have to take care of them like a baby. No mistakes are allowed. And when it rains, things get worse. Chickens get cold feet, wet bellies, susceptible to infection, slippery ground, broken water troughs, wind blowing into the coop. You have to do it all, everything by hand, alone, in the rain, with a torn raincoat and heavy boots full of mud. 7. Grass has its limits, and soil is tired. One thing I didn't think about is that even pasture gets tired. If you let the chickens walk too much in one place, the droppings accumulate. The grass dies, the soil becomes infertile. Then the chickens eat the droppings, get infections, get intestinal diseases. I had to learn to rotate, divide the pasture into small plots, build movable fences, move the chickens to a new area every day. So, every morning I had to get up early, check the wind direction, the sun, the humidity, then pull the coop, change the straw, make new feeders. You are not just a chicken farmer, you are the architect of a living ecosystem. Fighting nature, saving life. 6. Spring rains and cruel cold March came with endless rain. The dry pastures were now flooded, muddy up to their shins. The chickens had no interest in walking or foraging. They huddled in the corners of their coops, their feathers wet, their beaks purple from the cold. I looked at them with the same heartache as I did at children left in the rain, with no one to protect them. One time, the temperature dropped to 28 degrees Fahrenheit, about -2 degrees Celsius, after a night of heavy rain. I couldn't sleep. At 3 a.m., I pulled out my flashlight and raincoat and walked nearly 600 yards to check each coop. The chicks were shivering. Some were motionless. So I quickly held them to my chest, wiped them with a dry towel, and brought them into the truck to warm up. It's not what a modern farmer should do, but if they don't, they'll die. I lost 37 chickens in one night. Sometimes I wonder, am I raising chickens or am I guarding life? 7. Enemies of the night, skunks, foxes, and owls. Night falls in the fields, the real enemies appear. Skunks sneak around the coop, digging silently like professional thieves. They never kill quickly, they kill one by one, leaving a terrible mark. Foxes are cunning. Once I forgot to lock the electric net around the coop. The next morning, I walked in and found only feathers flying. 49 chickens, gone as if they had never existed. Owls are different. They glide in the dark, making no sound. If you're lucky, you only lose 1 to 2 chickens a week. If not, they'll come back the next night. And the night after that, until you put a net on the roof. I started sleeping poorly, my ears always on alert. Every sound was a death knell. I set up cameras, electric fences, motion sensor lights. There were nights when it rained so hard I kept the lights on. Not because I loved chickens, but because if I lost any more, I wouldn't have enough money to keep the farm running. 8. Floods, lightning, and a broken pump. A huge storm hit in late April. The rain poured down like someone in the sky was dumping an ocean on me. The pasture turned into a sea of water. The chicks were up to their bellies. I rushed out into the rain, dragging each coop to higher ground. Each coop weighed nearly 300 pounds. The water was knee-deep. The mud was thick and sucked my boots. At one point I fell, covered in mud. But I didn't stop. A 30-minute delay would have cost me the entire flock. The electric water pump exploded from the lightning strike. I had to scoop water by hand all night to keep the coop dry. My hands were calloused, my shoulders ached, and the smell of dirt clung to my hair. After that flood, I lost nearly 60 chickens. Some drowned, some caught colds and gradually died. I wrote a short sentence in my farm diary that day. No one said it would be this hard to stay alive. 9. The heat of June. A silent killer. When June came, the sky suddenly turned like a giant furnace. The temperature here sometimes reached 105 degrees F, 40.5 degrees C. The pasture was no longer green. It was yellow and scorched in patches. The chickens refused to eat. They panted heavily, their wings spread wide to dissipate heat, standing still like statues. I installed more fans, doubled the water intake. But some still collapsed from heat stroke. I tried everything, setting up water troughs with ice, making temporary tarps, and wetting the grass around the coop. One day, I poured ice on the ground to cool the chickens' feet, a crazy thing, but worth trying when you have to choose between a fragile hope and certain death. I learned one thing: winter kills chickens with cold, summer kills them with silence. 10. Trade-offs, blood, sweat, and dreams. By July, I sold my first batch of chickens. More than 1,000 for 100. Each one sold for twice the price of industrial chickens. Customers said the meat was sweet and frag.